Hey guys, good morning. Happy Wednesday. I am gonna finish up our notes for day 11 with y'all. So let's get started. You're gonna start on slide 2 again, going over your words this week. So your words are apprehensive, defiant, gingerly, sheepish, and premonition. You can just click the link in the bottom of the page, or you can check out the stream to play vocabulary.com and practice your words. All right, so if you want to, pause the video right here to make sure you're getting that study time in. It's really hard just to pass the test without studying at all. Yeah, just give it some time today. Next up, so your do nows looked really good yesterday. Thank you for writing 10 lines, for telling me about a time when you had a bad feeling or when you've experienced maybe some deja vu. You answered 2 questions. If you watched the video, I gave you text evidence for both. And today, we're going to read the middle of 77 to the end of the chapter, and we're going to answer 2 questions in our exit ticket. All right, so now you should pause and go open your text. It's linked in the stream. We're going to pick up on page 77. Let's go see what the deal is, I said, hopping out. What for? Dally sounded irritated. Get back in here before I beat your head in. I knew that Dally would have to park the car and catch me before he could carry out his threat. And Johnny was already out and following me, so I figured I was safe. We could hear him cussing us out, but he wasn't mad enough to come after us. There was a crowd in front of the church, mostly little kids, and I wondered how they had gotten there so quickly. I tapped the nearest grown-up. What's going on? Well, we don't know for sure, the man said with a good-natured grin. We were having a school picnic up here, and the first thing we knew, the place was burning up. Thank goodness it's wet season. That old thing is worthless anyway. Then, to the kids, he shouted, "Stand back, children. Firemen will be coming soon." I bet we started it, I said to Johnny. We must have dropped a lighted cigarette or something. And about that time, a lady came running up. "Jerry, some of the kids are missing." They're probably around here somewhere. You can't tell with all this excitement where they might be. No, she shook her head. They've been missing for at least a half hour. I thought they were climbing at the hill. Then we all froze. Faintly, you could hear someone yelling, and it sounded like it was coming from inside the church. The woman went white. I told them not to play in the church. I told them. She looked like she was going to start screaming, so Jerry shook her. I'll get them. Don't worry. I started a dead run for the church, and the man caught my arm. I'll get them. You kids stay out. I jerked loose and ran. All I could think was, we started it, we started it, we started it. All right, so on page 78, we can cite that as text evidence. For number 3, what's motivating Johnny and Ponyboy to run into or towards a burning building is guilt, right? They feel like this is their responsibility, and God forbid something happens to these kids, it's going to be on their shoulders. They're already wanted for murder. Now they're going to be wanted for arson too. All right, so take a second if you need to. Again, your evidence can be on 78, or you could go up to 77 where they talked about dropping a cigarette. Our last question today is, what figurative language is the cinders and embers began falling on us, stinging and smarting like ants? So we gotta name it, what type of language, and how do we know? I wasn't about to go through the flaming door, so I slammed a big rock through a window and I pulled myself in. It was a wonder that I didn't cut myself to death, now that I think about it. Hey, Ponyboy. I looked around startled. I hadn't realized that Johnny had been right behind me all the way. I took a deep breath and I started coughing. The smoke filled my eyes and they started watering. Is that guy coming? Johnny shook his head. The window stopped him. Too scared? Nah, Johnny gave me a grin. Too fat. I couldn't laugh because I was scared I would drown in the smoke. The roar and crackling was getting louder, and Johnny shouted the next question. Where's the kids? In the back, I guess, I hollered, and we started stumbling through the church. I should be scared, I thought, with an odd, detached feeling, but I'm not. The cinders and embers began falling on us, stinging and smarting like ants. All right, guys, so if they're saying that the fire, when it was dropping, it hurt them like ants. The pain they're feeling from the fire, they're comparing it to something that's not the same. So the embers are ants. They're comparing, and they're using what word? I want to yell it at the screen like Dora the Explorer. What word are they using to compare the two? Oh, like, yeah. So if you compare two things using like or as, that's called a... I really hope you're yelling at the screen. If you're yelling, please leave a comment below. Yes, so it's a simile, and we know because of the word like. Suddenly, in the red glow and haze, I remembered wondering what it was like inside a burning ember, and I thought, now I know. It's a red hell. Why aren't I scared? We pushed open the door to the back room and found 4 or 5 kids, about 8 years old or younger, huddled in a corner. One was screaming his head off, and Johnny yelled, "Shut up. We're gonna get you out." The kid looked surprised and quit hollering. I blinked myself. Johnny wasn't behaving like his old self. He looked over his shoulder and he saw that the door was blocked by flames. Then he pushed open the window and he tossed out the nearest kid. I love this scene. They just pick up kids and throw them out the window. I caught one quick look at his face. It was red, marked from falling embers and sweat-streaked, but he grinned at me. He wasn't scared either. This was the only time that I could think of when I saw him without the defeated, suspicious look in his eyes. He looked like he was having the time of his life. I picked up a kid, and he promptly bit me, but I leaned out the window, and then I dropped him gently as I could, being in a hurry like that. A crowd was there by that time. Dally was standing there when he screamed, "For Pete's sake, get out of there. The roof's gonna cave in any minute. Forget those kids." I didn't pay attention, although pieces of the old roof were crashing down too close for comfort. I snatched up another kid, hoping he didn't bite, and I dropped him out, waiting to see if he landed okay or not. I was coughing so hard that I could hardly stand up, and I wished that I had time to take off Dally's jacket. It was hot. We dropped the last of the kids out the front of the church as the church started to crumble. Johnny shoved me towards the window. "Get out." I leaped out of the window and heard timber crashing and flames roaring right behind me. I staggered, almost falling, coughing and sobbing for breath, and then I heard Johnny scream. And as I turned to go back for him, Dally swore at me, and he clubbed me across the back as hard as he could, and I went down into a peaceful darkness. Hold on one second, Steve's here. Come here. You're gonna cry to come in, but you don't want to say hi to everybody? Come here. See. I was gonna pick her up because Aaliyah wanted to see her yesterday, but she keeps running away from me, so we're gonna keep reading. Thanks for that little break. I think this question is our exit ticket, so we should figure out why Pony had a peaceful darkness. So on page 80, you could copy and paste. Dally swore at me and he clubbed me across the back. So he's experiencing a peaceful darkness because Dallas knocks him out. He is knocked out, so he doesn't run back into the church or do anything else stupid. It's probably feeling peaceful because, you know, he's probably exhausted. He ran into a church. He probably feels sick and hurt. Okay, when it came to, I was being bounced around and I ached and smarted, and I wondered dimly where I was. I tried to think, but there was a high-pitched screaming going on, and I couldn't tell whether it was inside my head or out. And then I realized it was a siren. The fuzz, I thought dully. The cops have come for us. I tried to swallow a groan, and I wished wildly for soda. Someone with a cold, wet rag was gently sponging off my face, and a voice said, "I think he's coming around." I opened my eyes. It was dark. "I'm moving," I thought. "Are they taking me to jail?" "Where?" I said hoarsely, not able to get anything else out of my mouth. My throat was sore. I blinked at the stranger sitting beside me, but he wasn't a stranger. I'd seen him before. "Take it easy, kid. You're in an ambulance." "Where's Johnny?" I cried, frightened at being in a car with strangers. "And Dallas?" "They're in the other ambulance right behind us. Just calm down. You're gonna be okay. You just passed out." "I didn't either," I said in a bored, tough voice reserved for strangers and cops. "Dallas hit me. How come?" because your back was in flames, that's why. Oh, we can cite 2 examples for exit tickets right here. He has this peaceful darkness because Dallas hit him, but the reason he hit him is because Ponyboy was on fire. So you can cite that from page 80. I was surprised. It was? Golly, I didn't feel it. It don't hurt. We put it out before you got burned. The jacket saved you from a bad burning. Maybe it saved your life. You just killed over from smoke inhalation and a little shock, of course. A slap on the back didn't help much. I remembered who he was then. Jerry, somebody or other who was too heavy to get in the window. He must be a school teacher, I thought. Are you taking us to the police station? I was a little mixed up as to what was coming off. The police station? It was his turn to be surprised. What would we take you to the police station for? We're taking all 3 of you to the hospital. I let his first remark slide by. Are Johnny and Dally alright? Which one's which? Johnny has black hair. Dally's a mean-looking one. He studied his wedding ring. Maybe he's thinking about his wife, I thought. I wished he'd say something. We think the tow-headed kid's gonna be alright. He got burned on one arm pretty badly, though, trying to drag that other kid out the window. Johnny, well, I don't know about him. A piece of timber caught him across the back. He might have a broken back. He was burned pretty severely. He passed out when he got out of the window. They're giving him plasma now. He must have seen the look on my face because he hurriedly changed the subject. I swear you 3 are the bravest kids I've seen in a long time. First, you and the black-haired kid climbing in that window, and then that tough-looking kid going back in to save him. Miss O'Brien, I think you were straight from heaven. Sent straight from heaven. Or are you professional heroes or something? Sent from heaven? Had he gotten a look at Dallas? No, we're greasers, I said. I was too worried and scared that he'd appreciate the fact that he was trying to be funny. You're what? Greasers. You know, like hoods, JDs. Johnny's wanted for murder and Dallas has a record with the fuzz a mile long. Are you kidding me? Jerry stared at me as if he thought I was still in shock or something. I'm not. Take me to town, you'll find out pretty quick. We're taking you to the hospital there anyway. The address card in your billfold said that's where you lived. Your real name, Ponyboy? Yeah, even on my birth certificate. Don't bug me about it. I felt weak. Are the little kids okay? Just fine. A little frightened, maybe. There were some short explosions right after you guys got out. Sounded just like gunfire. Gunfire? There went our gun, and gone with the wind. Were we sent from heaven? I started to laugh weakly. I guess the guy knew how close to hysterics I really was, for he talked to me in a low, soothing voice all the way to the hospital. Alright, you guys are gonna read the last 2.5 pages on your own, so read to page 84. The last question we answered, right? We answered 3 and 4. We found evidence for exit ticket, so you should be good. I would read the last 2 pages, but I feel like you guys can handle it. Alright, you'll have a quiz on chapters 5 and 6 tomorrow, so please take the SparkNotes quiz on your own and practice those questions ahead of time. Alright, I will see you guys tomorrow.